What is going on? We are back in black in the building. Shout out to everybody out there at the Court Plantation doing what they need to do to survive. Shout out to Dave for No Compromise. Shout out to Erica, Florida in the building. Shawnee, Philly in the building. Mariah, Tasha, Latanya, Lil Angie. Everybody out there, man, that's working. First of all, I'm going to need y'all to donate to the United Negro Warren Fund. You can cash at me $100,000 a piece. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. Shout out to everybody out there, man, at the Court Plantation. Hey, man, you already know what it is. You know what it ain't. We are talking about today's subject, pleading not guilty. Y'all probably forgot about that lady in Florida who shot that sister, who antagonized that sister into coming over there and confronting her because she was fucking with her kid shit. She shot and killed that lady dead. So now she's pleading not guilty on the stand your ground law. So we're going to get into it. Let's do it. Hey. Man. I got some audio. Let's see what they talking about. They're going to give you a little bit of brief synopsis on what's going on. So let's see what they talking about. Let's see if they let us play it. Because sometimes they won't let you play it. Sometimes they'll do some sucker shit. If not, I'll just read the article and we talk about it. Let's see. No, we're not watching no commercials. Or no niggas in no car wash together. You gotta get the fuck up out of here. These niggas done lost their mind. But anyway, man, I'm just waiting for the audio to play. Then we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna really talk about it. Because I think this is very important for us. And then we're gonna talk about decorum and how to act, you know, in your neighborhoods with your neighbors and how to interact and how to know how to just keep to yourself and teach your kids how to, you know, be on point. Okay, here we go.
Cold blood. We need answers. We need an arrest.
That is the attorney for a woman shot and killed in Florida by her neighbor. Well, they're demanding an arrest, as you heard. They say that A.J. Owens, a black mother of 4 young children, died Friday night after a dispute with her neighbor who shot her through a front door. According to a family lawyer, Owens' children were playing outside when the neighbor engaged them and threw a pair of skates at them. The lawyer says she also shouted racial slurs, and when Owens went to confront her, the woman shot and killed her. Carlos Suarez is in Miami following all of this. And there are so many questions this morning, but key for the legal team is why this woman hasn't been arrested. Do we know?
Well, Poppy, the sheriff's office is saying that they're looking into whether this shooting was in self-defense, but that's an argument that the victim's family says is just not possible. 35-year-old A.J. Owens.
First of all, I'll talk about it at the end of this video, but we have to go with the intent. If I am defending myself, I don't have time to be talking about you nigga and this and that. I'm just defending myself. But if it's with intent, I'm going to add racial slurs to it, which makes it intentful, which means you weren't defending yourself. You wanted to shoot and kill that person.
As you said, was killed on Friday north of Orlando in Ocala. Knocked on the door of a neighbor who minutes earlier had an issue with. Now, the victim's family said that the woman had previously harassed the children, calling them racial slurs and the N-word. Owens' mother said her daughter wanted to know why the authorities said that Owens knocked on the door of. It's an argument that the victim's family says is just not possible. 35-year-old A.J. Owens, as you said, was killed on Friday north of Orlando in Ocala, Florida. Authorities said that Owens knocked on the door of a neighbor who minutes earlier had an issue with Owens' children that were playing outside. Now, the victim's family said that the woman had previously harassed the children, calling them racial slurs.
Which should be a hate crime. And if it was a hate crime, and the Department of Justice, along with the FBI, who was ran by J. Edgar Hoover, the biggest anti-black, white, racist person, if they made that a law, which is a hate crime, so if you call a black person a nigga, then it's a hate crime, you're going to go to jail for about 2 years. Them motherfuckers will stop fucking with people, and they'll leave black people alone.
And the N-word, Owens' mother said.
See, I knew it. You didn't have to tell me that. I know that's what that lady was doing, because these white supremacists are the masters of confusion. So they know how to get people up in arms by calling you nigga and saying this and saying that. So you can come over to them and then they can shoot you in self-defense. Now you dead and gone and I was just, I was defending my life.
Her daughter wanted to know why the woman kept an iPad that the children left behind and why she threw a pair of skates at them. Here's more of what that mother said.
She knocked on Susan's door. A closed, locked door. Door never opened.
Never.
My daughter, my grandchildren's mother, was shot and killed. She had no weapon.
Which we already know, because that's what they were saying.
She posed no imminent threat to anyone.
All right, so the sheriff of Marion County said that the two women were yelling at each other through that front door and that authorities haven't made an arrest yet because of Florida's Stand Your Ground law, adding that authorities, they're still interviewing other neighbors and Owen's 9-year-old son who was standing next to his mom when she was shot through that door. Here's the sheriff.
And what we have to rule out.
We already heard all that. So here, let's cut on the music so we can discuss this even further. I'll read what they're talking about. Susan Lawrence, the Florida woman accused of fatally shooting her neighbor through a closed door last month during a dispute over children playing outside, waived her arraignment and entered a written plea of not guilty, a court official said. Lawrence, a 58-year-old white woman, is charged with manslaughter with a firearm and assault related to the June 2nd shooting of her black neighbor. A.J. Owens, who had been knocking on Lawrence's door, investigators in Marion County said. Lawrence became angry prior to the shooting because several neighborhood children, including Owens' children, were playing near her home. Investigators have said the Owens family previously told CNN Lawrence harassed Owens and her children, used racial slurs towards them prior to the killing. Lawrence's next court date will most likely be sometime in September, according to Rahaza Robles, a spokesperson with Florida's 5th Judicial Circuit Court. She has now posted the $154,000 bond set for her. Rich Booksman with State Attorney Bill Gladson's office said Tuesday. Lawrence public defender Amanda Sizemore said she had no comment on the plea. Lawrence faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted, Gladson said in an earlier statement. Owens' family said last month they were disappointed Lawrence wasn't charged with murder. Lawrence deserves all 30 years of that 30-year maximum sentence, family attorney Anthony Thomas said during a news conference. The state attorney's office considered a second-degree murder charge, but that would require the state to prove Lawrence had a depraved mind at the time of the shooting. Gladson said in this statement, as deplorable as the defendant's actions were in this case, there's insufficient evidence to prove this specific required element of second-degree murder, Gladstone's statement read. While some may not agree with that decision, I can assure you that the decision was thoughtful and made without consideration of any factors other than the specific facts of this terrible crime. Lawrence told police she did not mean to shoot Owens and was frightened for her own life, according to an arrest affidavit. She admitted to using racial slurs against the neighborhood children in the past, the affidavit says. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, this is what I really think. You wanted to kill her, like I said. I'm going to keep talking about this, so I want people to understand. You wanted to kill her with intent. The intent was to kill that black woman. You didn't like her nigga kids. That's why you was calling them niggas and all this other shit. Now, when we buy these homes, you're buying the neighborhood. The majority of your neighbors in the United States of America Incorporated may have anti-black, racist, white supremacist views. That's why it's very important for us to not let our children be raised by the neighborhood. It is very important for us to take out the personal time with our children and take them to the Boys and Girls Club, recreation centers, take them to the skating rink, take them to go ride their bikes. It's very important for you to be affluential in these kids' lives. Let me tell you why. Because this is how neighbors really feel about each other, especially black folk. I'm not saying stay in your house and be a ghost, but I'm not saying don't be so prevalent where people, in my personal opinion, are going to do these things because the law is going to side with the dominant society almost every single time. Remember, when you're buying a home or renting, you are renting and buying the neighborhood. So you have to case the joint. You go during the day, go at night, go in the evening time, go early in the morning. Know who the neighbors are. Don't go up and try to meet every neighbor and, hey, how you doing, all this? Oh, that neighbor's cool. No, what you do is you just go around and you look and you observe and you see. I don't see a lot of kids playing around here. This might not be the community for me and my children. Now, I'm not making no excuses because you don't shoot somebody. You don't antagonize somebody's kids. I've had that in the past as for, I remember some kids in my neighborhood, Latino kids, playing, throwing balls around, where my home dwelling was. And I had to go out there and tell them, please do not play in front of my home. If you can, play in front of your home, because if one of those balls or rocks or whatever you're throwing hits my car, we're going to have an issue. So can you play in front of your yard? And that's what they did. And I said it nice, affirm, with a little bit of affirmation with it, and, to let them know, I was being, nice about it. But at the same time, I was being confident about it too. Like, hey, this is what I need you to do. Play in front of your home. I am a big proponent of not letting the neighborhood raise your children. I'm a big proponent of, if there are groups of children that are outside playing in the community, that's different. But if there's just a sprinkle of kids playing in that community, I want us as black people to just watch the neighborhood, encase the joint, look around the neighborhood, take stock and inventory of who the neighbors are, who's outside. Is it a neighborhood where people are constantly driving by? Is it a neighborhood where it's predominantly the dominant society? Are there children outside playing? What is going on? Always check on your kids. When there's a racial matter that can unfold, I highly suggest that you protect yourself, and let's be smart. Let's think outside the box, and let's be left brain thinkers so we can understand it's about making it home safe and making sure your kids are safe. We don't want to put ourselves in harm's way and in danger because some racist white supremacists want to call your kids niggas. I get that, and I understand. I totally understand. And she was wrong as a $4 bill. But we got to understand etiquette and the social game rules in these communities. And the reason why is because when you don't know those social game rules, it makes it very hard for you to protect yourself and protect your children. And that's what matters most to me. Now, do I think that lady's guilty? Oh, yeah, she's guilty. You killed that sister with intent. You wanted to. You was calling them all kinds of racial slurs. You wanted to kill them. That was a racist act, and that should be a hate crime. And in my personal opinion, this lady is hiding under the guise of stand your ground law, when really that was a racist hate crime act that you pulled. And she knows that. That's why she's pleading not guilty. And she's going to do I'm the white victim and poor me and the white fragility shit. We know what the fuck it is, but we got to know the racial game rules. We have to know we have to know what it is before everybody else. Because even if we defended ourselves, if that black sister would have defended herself and killed that white lady, they'd put that sister in jail. So we have to understand that. That's why, me personally, I don't do the whole socializing with neighbors like that every day and you know what I mean, and talking and all this other stuff, and I don't do that. And what I do is, if I ever have company over my house, I make sure we in my house and we not outside making a whole goddamn bunch of noise, because you're buying and renting the neighborhood and you have to be considerate of others. You're gonna always have neighbors that are bullshit motherfuckers, hang out in their garage all day, don't do shit, ain't trying to do shit, watching the coming and going of what everybody else is fucking doing, and all up in everybody else's business. I feel like that exists in almost every fucking neighborhood. But me, I'm not a nice person, and I don't socialize with people at all. Not in that way. I have a couple of neighbors that's been here longer than me, and we talk and we chat. And I got, a couple of neighbors or whatever, we say hello. We kind of look out for each other. But other than that, no. When I have my nieces and nephews, play the backyard, play upstairs, play in the house. I don't do that playing on the street and playing with your big wheel and we can't keep our eye on you. No. I don't do that. I don't care how nice my neighbors are. I don't do that. I don't like kids that are supposed to be at my house in somebody else's driveway. I don't play that shit either. My mom didn't play that, but I definitely don't play that. And it's important that you don't let the neighborhood raise your kids. Like I said, I remember my mom's neighbor across the street. My little brother and sister, the church they went to, they friends. He was a good neighbor, but my little sisters and them was being funny and kept kicking the ball in his backyard. So he gave instead of him giving them their kickball back, he gave their ass a bowling ball. Now kick this motherfucker. I was rolling when they told me that shit. And then he told my mom to her face. He's black man. He went to the same church as us out here in Vegas. And he said, look, when my kids were that age, I took them to the park. Translation, take your motherfucking kids to the park. Don't let the neighborhood raise your kids. If you're not out there watching the kids and making sure they doing what they're supposed to do, take them to the park. Or you better have some board games or some shit for them to do, or take to the Boys and Girls Club or the recreation center. Don't just let your kids be out running amok. I'm not saying that sister was doing that. I'm just giving us the social game rules because that's what they'll do. I believe this dominant society white lady antagonized that lady and knew the police weren't going to do shit. And I believe she was told, set her up. Make it where she comes to her house and shoot her. And then you can claim stand your ground. And I believe that's what she did. Excuse me. So, with that being said, we have to think smarter. That's why this lady's pleading not guilty, because it was a setup. That black sister didn't do anything wrong. That black sister did everything right. She was protecting her children and confronting her to see, why are you calling my children niggas? And why did you take their iPod, their iPad? Why would you do that? That's theft. I would have called the police and said, she just stole my iPad or whatever, and just kept making your complaints. But I get it. Sometimes you get tired of making complaints, but that's what we have to do. What works for the dominant society will never work for you. Hey, man, that's my time. You know what it is. You know what it ain't. Hey, I'm your boy Warren G. The place to be. Been Clown Sucker Free since 2003. David, James, Youngblood, Dave for No Compromise. Let's do it live, man. We got to do one. We got a whole bunch of shit to talk about. So y'all holler at me, man, when y'all get the chance. You already know what it is. And you know what it ain't. And I've been watching the Big Three, too. I'm watching this interview with Ice Cube, and I think I'm going to talk about it on Thursday. I'm not done with it. He's on the Breakfast Club on how the NBA has been sabotaging our brother Ice Cube since the inception of the Big Three. And I believe that Adam Silver and the rest of those dominant society motherfuckers do not like Ice Cube because he's not smiley. And I believe their whole ploy and objective is to destroy the Big Three, where ain't nobody watching it. So I'm gonna watch the rest of this interview with Ice Cube, and then I'll talk about it again on Thursday. Hey, man, guilty nigga, I'm out. Peace.